Hi, this is Chuck James from 3C Production Studios in Bowie, Maryland. I've done a lot of seminars and tutorials on Sonar. Today, I'm going to do one on RMix, which is a plugin that comes with Sonar X2 producers. I think that you'll like it a lot. When you go into Sonar S2, the effects pane over here gives you access to a lot of different audio effects. I have a lot of different plugins, but one of the ones that came with producer, X2 producer, was the RMix. I like it a lot, and the way I use it most of the time is that when I have downtime in the studio and I have want to go over my production chops, what I'll do is I'll take a track that I really like the production of, and I'll put it in Sonar, and then listen to it and try to figure out what kind of reverbs they use, what kind of plugins, how they did the EQs. And RMix is a real good tool for checking those things because of the way that it lets you break down the frequency. If you double click on it, it'll come up. Drag it into the center of the interface. And what you can see with the first off is that it's a Roland product. Roland is very well known for its audio products, especially synths. But with the purchase of Sonar, they've really done a good thing with their Cakewalk products. And this RMix, you can see that you have an outside level and an inside level adjustment, so that you can separate the frequency and also the stereo panning of different instruments inside of a mix. It can be used for a lot of different things. You can change the shape of the circle or square inside. You can also change the dimensions. When you change the dimensions, what you're doing is going left and right in the stereo field, but also up and down in the frequencies. If you right click on one of the lines, it'll tell you what the frequency is. That one's 14K. If you come down here and right click, you can see it's 32K. So it basically divides the sound spectrum up into the stereo field and the frequency field. Then they give you different effects. If you move these sliders up, you can right click over here and get different kinds of reverb to add to your mixes. And down here they have noise cancellation. You can go over here and you can get just different types of noises and adjust the levels. But what I'm going to show you in this tutorial is I'm going to take this track by Music, and it's called Like the Sun. And at first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out where different elements of this mix were placed. So I'll let you hear a little bit of it, and I hope you like this track. As you can see, there's a lot of musical elements, both right and left, and also high frequency and low frequency. By pulling this box down in the frequency and then dropping the inside level, you can see that you can take away the bass content that's panned to the center. That's one of the ways that I use this tool, is to help me analyze where people put things in the mix. If I go over and take out one side of the mix, it'll be a completely different song. It's a little hard to hear on this tutorial, but now it's basically only coming out of one side of the speaker when I take it down. You can use that to see which way they pan different instruments. So that's one use of the program. But what I usually use it for is I put some drums on this track, and I wanted to see what this track would sound like if it had live drums. So when I play the track again, what I'll try to do is take the kick drum down so that you don't hear so much of the kick drum in this track. and then it'll leave room for me to play the kick drum that I produced in there. So we're going to start in a low frequency, right click. You can see that's 244. Most of the fundamental on the kick drum is going to be below that, so we can make it a little lower down, come down to 116 and then 58. Most of your kick is going to be in that 58 range. So then I'll start to play it, and then I'll take the inside level down and see if I can isolate the kick drum and take it out of the mix. Let me get into the music where it's already playing. Talking, saying that you and me wouldn't last. But thankfully our hearts don't have to listen. I know everything. You can see how much of the bass drum and the kick drum that I took out. Mostly the only part of the bass drum that you can hear now is the click from the beater itself. So if I put my kick drum over it, you can see that now you can really hear the production on the kick that I put in the new arrangement. Talking, saying that you and me wouldn't last. But thankfully our hearts don't have to listen. I know everything that's on your mind. These type of things don't. You could do the same thing with the snare. I'm gonna put it all the level back up, and you'll see where the snare hit is hitting. Every time it hits, you'll see a lot of activity in this area. Talking, saying that you and me wouldn't last. It shows up as this white area in here. So let's move the box up into the higher frequency range. A lot of times the snare will go up into 10K range. So let's move it up here. Now we're looking at a higher frequency range, so bring it down a little bit. And then I'm going to pull the center inside level down and try to isolate the snare drum itself. So you can see that I effectively pulled the snare out. So what I'm going to do now is add the snare back in on the new track, snare drum track. And I'm going to do the overheads too, because a lot of the snare sound is going to be in the overheads, and we'll take another listen. If I pull it out a little bit wider, you'll see that I kill a little more of the snare sound. And now I put the snare back. When I put the snare back, you can see that it covers up the snare sound that I had. So that's one of the ways that I use this RMix. But a lot of times I'll have people come in, they'll want to sing over a track, and they'll have a karaoke track. And the karaoke tracks are great. Someone's taking the time out to either reproduce them or to pull the vocal out or as much as possible, so that when you put the new scratch vocal track on top, then you'll be able to hear your artist. But one of the things I don't like about them is usually they're very dull. The process that they use takes too much of the sheen out of the music. So I'll use RMix to make a hole in the track for the new vocal to go. So usually the vocal is in a range of about 150 to about 4,000, and it's pan dead center in the track. So I'll just start off with the box in the center, and I'll play it and then start to pull the center level down and see if I still hear the vocal. So let's do that and see how much of the vocal we can pull out without killing too much of the music. Talking, saying that you and me wouldn't last. You can see that I got pretty much all of the vocal, but I've also killed most of the music. So now we're gonna make tweaks to it to see if we can bring some of the liveness back in the music without introducing too much vocal. And the first thing to do is to get rid of the killing of the low frequency. There's very little vocal down there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this button. It's 128. Then the next line is 2 something. Let's go up to the 2, and then raise it up a little. and play it again and see if we have that bass back in the music and see how it affected the vocal that we're trying to take out. Okay, I still hear a lot of the high frequencies, so let's see what this is. 7,000. I don't want to take it up that high, but let's take it up a little bit higher and bring it in a little narrower and see if we can add some more music back to it without adding too much of the vocal. Now, in that last adjustment, I got rid of the high frequency, but I still hear a lot of the vocal. So I think that what they did was they panned it dead center, but they used some kind of enhancement to make the vocal wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the edges and pull it out wider and see if I can take some more of that vocal out without killing too much of the music. That was pretty effective in pulling most of the vocal out. Let me drop down a little bit more on the bottom end. See where we're at now. Taking it down to 118. That might be a little much. Let's send it back a little. And now let's see if we've gotten most of that vocal. Now I'm going to pull the top frequency down to see if I can add a little more of the sheen back to the music. Okay, so now we're going to do something to check, to give yourself a good idea of what exactly we did with the selection that we made. We're going to put the center up and pull the music down and see how much of the pure vocal we have and how much of the music, if we want to put any of the musical elements back in. Now that's pretty good. I think with the adjustments I just made, that we put a little of the music back, but we pretty much got the voice captured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all up and let you hear what the track sounds like the way it was recorded. And then I'm going to pull the vocal down so that you can hear the difference that it made by reducing the overall volume of that center frequency. Talking, saying that you and me wouldn't last. I think that was pretty good. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put the scratch vocal back in with all of the levels up to show you what it would sound like if you tried to record an artist and then mix them back into the track. And then I'm going to pull the center frequencies down that we tried to capture that vocal. And you can see how the hole was made for the new vocal to fit in. Talking, saying that you and me wouldn't last. But thankfully our hearts don't have to listen. You know everything that's on your mind. Type of things don't happen all the time. Cause I was loving in the dark, but now with you I see the light. So you can see it created a nice hole for the new vocal to go in. It didn't kill the background vocals, so you don't have to go in and record the background vocals, because most of the time you're just trying to showcase the voice of the artist that you have that's singing over a track that's already been recorded. So just wanted to do this video, let you see some of the ways that you can use the RMix. This is a really creative tool. It's really good for remixers. If you want to come in and someone mixed the track for you, you're not really happy about the way that it turned out, or you want to raise one of the elements in the track, you can move the selection around, find out where the element is that you want, and then just raise the volume of it compared to the rest of the track. So hope you liked this video. If you found it useful, please subscribe to me, and I'll see you next time.